Hello, everyone. Well, here we are, and have just finished needle to sea bottom in the second section of the long form of the Young Family Form. And we are going to go review that today. We're also going to review some more basics. You've probably noticed I've started doing some of those basics. We're going to do a little more about that because they all underlie our balance, which is something I promised we'd also be working on at this point. So I'm going to do that and maybe even get to some specific exercises. And we have a new movement today. The new movement today is fan through back. So we've got a lot to do. So let's get started. We're going to begin, actually, let me just say one more thing before we begin. Yes, last time we talked about having your whole foot on the ground. And especially when you're like standing on it or when you have both feet on the ground, having the whole bottom of your foot on the ground, unless of course you're doing something like an empty stance where you're supposed to have the heel pad on the ground or the ball pad on the ground. That's called the bubbling well, and I think I mentioned it last time. So just to review that, it's kind of like this part of your hand, but that's how your foot can leap and compress, and how you can really fully root your whole foot. It also gives you understanding of your balance. It gives you understanding that, like, if you're on the outside of your foot, your body shape probably isn't so good, right? So let's see if I can do this in a way that you can see. If you're long socks today, if you're on the outside of your foot, you see how that's like shifting my knee? If you're on the inside of your foot, you see what it's doing here? You see that? So this is feedback. It's feedback about your knee's relationship to the rest of your body, and oftentimes to your hip. And so if you're not aligned, you're not sort of stacked up, this can be a real problem for your body, and you can end up being sore after you do your Tai Chi. It also means it's often hard. So it gives you tips. If you're having a hard time doing that, there's a few things, like in single whip, you may find that very briefly, your foot will go off being in that bubbling well feeling, but while you're getting there, and I'll point that out today. So I always want to review bubbling well, and we're going to try to do that in our first practice today. And then our second practice today, I want you to really think about that part of it. The other thing you can think about, because you're going in and out all the time, right, as you practice, is peeling your foot up off the floor. So if we're moving from here, you want to feel the bubbling well in both places. There's more weight on the front right now than on the back. It's 60-40. But then I come back, I'm on the heel, I come here, I put the whole thing down, move, this is for like from brush knee to brush knee, move that whole Tai Chi pole over, right? But I want you to think about, can you pull that heel ball toe up, like sort of like sort of pull it off the floor gradually. Pull it off the floor gradually. Be in contact with the floor as much as you can. Heel, ball, toe, and then you're bringing it up. And then, you know, like if this was parry, block, and punch or something, you'd put it down and it would go down. Heel, ball, toe, and then you're going to move your Tai Chi pole over it and turn your Tai Chi pole when you need to, right? So these are things to try to, if you can be conscious of that today, you're sort of your lower body, and how it aligns with your pole. One way to keep that in mind is going to be to also just keep your head up, right? If you can. So let's actually start at the beginning of, I guess we better start at the beginning of the second section because of the time today. Remember, we did this like prepare last week, feeling that really good body shape and our weight on the bubbling well. Feel that head reaching up, that neck long, and the body suspended, dropping down, just like you were hanging, sort of hanging from your shoulders. And I'm going to talk about the feet here a little bit. We'll see how that goes, you know, these concepts. So we're going to do embrace tiger, return to mountain. I'm pivoting on that left heel. And right here, I'm actually going to stop for a second. Right here, I've gone so far that I can't kind of be on the bubbling well. Take note of that. Maybe I shouldn't be going quite so far. So if I'm back a little, I can be on the bubbling well. So you're going to pick my foot up and put it down, heel, ball, toe, bend knee, and roll back. As you do this, keep that weight, keep the full foot on both full feet on the ground. As you do grasp the bird's tail, here's press and push. Fist under elbow. We're coming back and pivoting with that right foot. Now, right now, if you want to stop at this point or observe me, my weight is a little on the outside. Remember I said single whip, also true of fist under elbow. I'm sorry, is a little bit on the left, just briefly on that, right before I come back, on the left outside edge of my foot. And Master Yang has even said that's okay. Heel, ball, toe. Heel up that back foot. Put down the front of your toe, ball, heel of that front foot. You're pivoting with the left. Just get really conscious. Repulse monkey, rocking back on that heel, but having your whole Tai Chi pole right over that front leg. And number 2, just feel those repulse monkeys. Number 3, the most important thing is your head up and that your spine is properly aligned. And diagonal flying. All of you do this really well, shows actually good control and balance. Going to stand on that front foot, peel up the back, move it, and sort of peel it down. Make sure right here you turn. There's a body turn here, an upper body turn. And white crane. Brush knee and push. Needle to sea bottom. Oh, that looks good, folks. All right, we're going to do that again. Pick one of those things to think about, either the bubbling well, head up, or how your spine is aligned between sort of heaven and earth. All right. So beginning at cross hands. Go through that list of prepare. Focus on the one thing you can add. We'll do it more quickly. Embrace tiger, return to mountain. Roll back. Press. Push. Fist. Under elbow. Repulse monkey, 1. 2. 3. 4. Diagonal flying. Raise hands and step forward. Remember, as you execute the technique, turn to the corner with your upper body. And white crane. Left brush knee. Hand strums the lute. Let's see. How was that? So sometimes when I try to add something new, everything just goes completely bluey. And sometimes it helps. So anyone have any comments on that? All right. Well, if you do, let me know. These are important concepts to follow. There is one other concept I want to go through today. So I don't want to overload you, but I do want to go through it because you're getting well into the second section now, and it's important to have these concepts. There are things to work on when you know something well, like when you're doing your first section practice as well. Just choose one. That's the concept of empty and full. So when we're in a way, empty and full is a huge concept. It has many applications to our Tai Chi, including, for example, you could be very full when you're storing energy. You know, when you're here, this would be a good example. You know, when you're storing energy, you're kind of like a spring, and then you release that energy. And when you're done, you're more empty. So if you feel like this sense of being a spring and releasing, that's empty full. But the easiest way to talk about empty and full is with our feet. So, you know, when we shift back, or wait, let's see, back here. When we shift back and turn out, for example, for parry, block, and punch, which we did before, right? We've moved sort of our weight, and then we're going to empty out this leg, move our spine over here, and we're emptying out this leg completely, and we're completely full on this side. And then that allows us to be able to bring our foot through and you know, put it where we want it, completely balanced. And then we move our spine over and fill the other side. So there is this movement as we shift our weight. Anytime you want to take a step, you've got to empty out and fill the other side, right? And you've got to move your pole. So sometimes when you find yourself losing your balance as you're moving, you're losing your balance as you're moving because you incompletely, you like, it's really hard for me to do it. But either you're tipping somehow, or you're not keeping, right filling completely. So if you, how do I want to say this? If you try to step before you've really moved your center, you're going to be it's going to take a lot of strength, and you're going to be very, you're going to be very wobbly when you do it. So, so this is another thing. Check out your empty and full. Check out your empty and full. Move, be fully full, be fully empty. Never place a foot unless you can pick it up again. And then move and heel up the other foot. Why give it up? You might need it. Then bring it in, at the last minute, bring it in. Don't be moving with your foot up, right? Heel it up and then let it swing in to join your body to come to neutral. So these are really great. That's lovely. These are really great things to work on to help your Tai Chi and help your balance everywhere in your Tai Chi. The other thing is your gaze and your head being up. So if your head is up, if you look down, you'll know where your feet are, but you've got a 10-pound ball hanging out, not aligned. So so that's the other thing. That's one of the reasons why we have our head up all the time. So I know I've thrown a lot at you, but I thought it would be good to just review all of these basics. Understand I'm calling them basics, but I'm using concepts we didn't talk about in the same way in section 1, right? So you're getting to a point where we want to make sure that we build our vocabulary and we build our concepts and we understand that this is part of doing our Tai Chi. So let's review now. Any questions on any of that? Okay, so let's review last week's move. I think folks, let's give it a lot of practice. I think actually that folks had it pretty well when I looked at the, when I looked back at what we had done before. So let's see, where are we? At the end of brush knee, let's just do a brush knee, right? At the end of brush knee, get yourselves a left brush knee in there. Here we go. And we're gonna shift forward and shake somebody's hand and pull that back foot in. Now we're gonna rock back, doing several things, bringing that hand back. We're going to change our foot back, work, and remember that dive down. So we're going to go through it bit by bit by bit. Here's our footwork. We're going to shift forward, peeling it up. Bring our foot in for one line, two sides. Rock back. So we're going toe ball heel on the right foot. Left foot is rocking back off the heel. lining up our spine, picking up our front foot, putting the ball down, and then 3 things. Sink, we're sinking. We are also turning our upper body square because it was over to the side. We pulled back, we turned. So now we're coming forward and we're bending. So all of those things are happening as we come down in our footwork. So let's look at it. I want to make sure you folks can see it. Here we go. So we're here. And I guess you can look over your, no, you have to go here. Sorry, from here. So here we are. Going to come forward, bring the right foot in, rock back. This is different from in the first section with hamstrings glute. Change our footwork, and I'm sorry I didn't turn. We're going to put that turn in there because we're pulling our arm out. So coming forward, stepping back, turn the upper body as you rock back. Notice that I'm still a little bit bent here, just a little, right here. Change my footwork. It's empty, totally empty. And sink, turn, and a little more bend of that upper body. So that upper body bends here. But notice that my hips stay over my back foot, and my center, where my tail is still on the center line, right? So I'm not like doing this, right? I'm doing this. All right, so that's our footwork, and you folks looked pretty good last week. Any questions about that? All right, and now we're going to do put the hands with it. So here we are. Going to give way. Remember that? Now we're going to left hand up halfway, right hand where opposite your cheek, and then you're going to change your footwork. Nothing really moves at that kind of transitional moment. And then do all of those footwork moves while we dive out with this arm. Remember? Dive out. So here's our hand shape that we always have. And we're going to, instead of being like this, it's going to be like this, but it's not going to get more flailed or anything. It's just going to be our regular hand shape. And we're not going to be completely straight, right? That would raise our shoulder. Just going to be Tai Chi straight, right? Nice. Looks really good. Really good. Okay, so let's practice this just a little bit. Do it this way. And needle. Oops, that's not it. Sorry. That's like hamstring to glute. That's some combination. So if you get confused, no, I get confused too. Ready? So shift forward and give way. Bring your back foot in. Rock back. And turning to square, sinking and diving down. Let's do it from this direction. And we're in a left bow stance at the end of left brush knee. Shift forward, bring that back foot in. rocking back, changing our footwork, diving down. And from here, let's see. And yielding forward. All right, now where do we look? So I don't think we talked about that. Here we are, and we're looking forward, and we do keep looking forward. All right. Somebody's grabbed us, we got to keep track of that person in front. So we yield forward, we come back, and we just keep looking forward, keep looking forward, keep looking forward. Now, when we bend our body, we just keep our eyes sort of where they were, and it's as if we're looking out parallel to this arm, to your right arm's angle. So you're kind of looking out at 45 degrees. So, so just give that a try. You okay, Erlyn? Maybe not. You don't have to say. It's being recorded.
Sorry, I didn't realize I wasn't on mute before. Yeah, I have a nerve thing going on right now down my right leg. So this is, I'm just going to keep doing it, but I might not be able to be walking much later.
So if you so let's chat about that at some point off class, because
yeah, it'll go away. It's temporary.
Yeah. I know. So I might be able to give you some tips. I might not. So
okay, thanks.
Yeah. So we'll deal with that. Yeah, just be careful when you're doing this. Yeah, be careful. It sounds good. Sounds very good. Any questions about this move? All right, as I said, it looks good, and I know folks have been looking at the video. So I wanna introduce the new move, and just like any of you, because I know not all of you have been up feeling top, just do what you can today, right? Don't push it. Everything will be on the video, so feel good about that. It's nice to have you here in any case. So so let's go on with a new move. The next move is fan through back. And one of the things that's hard about the move we just did is staying there, and there your instructor is talking about it, and it's a very hard thing to do. So from now on, you're not going to have to stay there. So I want to show you this move. I'll show it from a couple of angles. This is fan through back. Oh, well, no, let me get there first, right? So we do needle to see bottom. And then this is fan through back. Needle to see bottom. Fan through back. Needle to see bottom. Fan through back. So I want to point out a couple things about this move. First of all, let's talk about the application a little bit. So remember we were like this and somebody grabbed our hand, and so we tried to pull it out, and that didn't work, right? So we did this thing where we went over their hand, right, and locked them down. surely they were going to let go. And for some reason, this doesn't work, right? But they still on you. So what you do is you bring your other arm, you start to lift your arm, you untip your body, and you shift your weight back a little bit, but you've still rooted in the front. And you start to rotate this arm, right? So it makes their grip a little harder, but then you get this arm up here and you freeze their grip where it is. And then you'll be able to see this on JP's video. You lift the arm up and they are contorted at this point. They're going to have to like let go or stop. And then you strike them. So it's a technique that literally follows the technique before. So let me show it to you again from here. So they grabbed our arm. We tried to pull it out and push them away. We did the dive over their arm to break their grip. Didn't work. We come up, hook their arm to us, and then strike them as we pull our arm out. This hand over here is protecting our temple. So before it was here when it was here and turned the other way, right? I'm gonna try to show you where it is. It was here the other time. Now it's going to be protecting our temple, okay? When we pull back. We're still going to keep the shoulder down. So what is this move? We are, so let's see, we were here, right? So we're here, this hand. So first of all, this hand, as your weight is already pretty back, but there's 30% here. As you're shifting your weight back, you're here. Do you notice I'm only about kind of feeling halfway up? Yeah. And then this arm is gonna get here. We'll go through that in a minute, and literally help to push your arm and their arm up because you've now trapped their arm. And at the end of this, so at the end, you're here. And I like that nice straight arm I'm seeing on those of you who are trying it, right? So, and you root here, then big turn, strike. Now, check out this bow step. Oh, sorry, you had to turn away from me, but you can see what's happening. Check out this bow step. Does this look like a regular bow step? Where have you seen this before or not? Is that pretty cool or what? So if you're ever wondering, so it's not, bow step, right? But we're really opening this. We're opening this. We're very open. And our hip is down, very level. Here, our hips, we're tipped, and our hips are this way. Our hips are here and they're still level. It's hard to see on this, They're still level, but I'm upright. There are 3 techniques. You're ready to know the answer to that question. 3 techniques, because you've had them all now. There's single whip. There is fan through back. And there is left ward off. The very first technique is the technique that's not like others. There's only those 3 in the long form. Okay, only those 3 to worry about that are different whenever you're in a bow step. All right, so let's do the footwork for this and just go through that a little bit. So if you want to go through, it's useful to me. Let's do it this way. Here we go. We're gonna go this way. Gonna shift our weight for, we're doing, we're getting down first, and then we're just gonna come right up, coming down. So we're gonna do the footwork for needle, change to the ball, sink, turn, right? Then what happens? We're gonna bring our, we're gonna unfold as we start to come up and start to pull our weight off the front foot. Remember, you're taking it off until it's all off. Then you're stepping out and see this big opening turn. We're going to do it from here. Moving forward, doing needle to C bottom, rocking back, changing down, and remember turning and coming up, stepping out, and then big turn. Let's try it with the arms. From here, we're going to shift forward and do needle to C bottom. Big turn of the upper body and down, turning forward, right away, weight shifting back, and you're coming up, stepping out. This key moment, the step into a bow step to the left, is as you are at the top here. Then forward. So those arms, again, might be useful. You're like this. I just want you to bring your arm up like this. Right, we all know how to do that. So it's a gradual, so we're gonna do it in slow motion here. We're here. I mean, we'd be like this, actually. So it's actually, interestingly, it's actually, we're tipped, right? So actually, let's untip our body. So this hand is actually not down like this. I was kind of, it's only down like this because you tipped here, right? It's only down like that because you tipped here. So it's coming out of here. So really, all you're doing is this. So it was like this, and all you're doing is this and this. Okay, that's all you're doing, except it feels like you're coming up. So when you're halfway up, this, you've gotten rid of this part and you're flat. when you're halfway up, and then you keep going. And at that halfway up point, that's where you are joining the one arm to the other. Your left arm onto your right arm. Now, where do you join? You join just behind the wrist. It's not the wrist, it's just behind, like it's right here, and you're joining with here, right? So it's not, you're not grabbing a wrist or anything, you're grabbing here. And look, you've actually got the ability, your palm is a little bit underneath, so you can actually push that up. Nice. So you can push it up. So you've got that. So we were here, we were bent. we were bent like this, right? This left arm, and it's right, it's just coming out of our shoulder. And bring it up. And then lift it up. Nice. All right, let's put that in. So from here, going to do needle to see bottom. Don't forget this turn here and turn back. Then coming up, joining when you're here, lifting. And of course, your weight's been moving back the whole time. This arm is still straight when I touch with my left foot. Shift weight, big turn to the right, and just like single whip. And where are you looking? Right through the tiger's mouth. Nice. Now it is, I don't, maybe your camera, but that is protecting your temple, not the side of your face. So it's a bit of a, so it's not this like white crane, but it is this. So there's still, and be careful, you still have some body shape, right? You don't want to get like this. You don't want to get that arm back too far. So keep that in mind, just so you know. All right, let us do it from, I think from here. Needle to see bottom. Fan through back.
Edie,
Yes.
for some reason, I guess for, I don't know, way too many years, I've been doing it wrong, I guess, because of
Maybe not. Let's see what you say.
my arm going back here and sliding it. I mean, it pushed up. I pushed it up, but then I slid it.
So when I have that issue happening, because I'm trying to keep this straight, it's because I haven't shifted my weight enough before contact. So let me show you. I'm just telling you my personal experience. So we're here. So if I keep too much, if I start coming up and my right foot is too heavy, right? My right foot is too heavy, then I end up needing to either bend this arm back, because I somehow need to get the weight back. But if you shift your weight back, it may help that. So wait a minute. It's so hard to remember what you're doing here. Here we go. So here, you want to keep, so you've got 60% or 70% of your weight in the back, because it's empty step, right? Now your weight shifts back and you're making your Tai Chi, you're really tucking a little bit, right? As you turn. And at this moment, You should be almost to the point when you're making contact here. You should be almost to the point where you can release that front foot. You aren't necessarily yet, because you might need that as you're pushing up, but you have to be close in order, I think, to get that arm straight. So just try that and see if that helps. It may not, but the point of contact is supposed to be right behind.
Front part of your arm, not the back part. I don't know.
Yes, and Master Yang wants it straight. Then here.
Our elbow down though, right? I mean, just as much as possible. Yeah.
So he does not, he talks about this in one of the videos I'm going to send you. He does not want, I mean, Master Yang does not want this, you know, our shoulders must be down. We need good body shape. This is this, right? This is this, right? This is different in that it's here. But again, so he says your elbow will be above probably your shoulder. When he demonstrates it, it certainly looks that way. And he comments on that. He says, but your shoulder must be down. So, you know, it's hard because there's so much. But you see my elbow here? My elbow is
Equal almost.
right? It's above, I think.
I
think it's a little bit above, yes. So just keep that shoulder down. Good question. Really good question. So how's this feeling to folks? Let's good. You know, this either seems, when I first learned this, I went, oh, this is not so hard. I don't know why. I guess because you can relate it to so much else you've done. And because you're so grateful that you don't have to stay down at the end of fan through the back. So let's actually practice this in all three directions. So we are going to, at the end of left brush knee, needle to C bottom. Remember that rocking back, turning the upper body to the right, and then turning the upper body square as we come down, and then up. Really hard to get that coordination at the end. Now check yourself, look in your, and see, are you straight? Nice, looking good. All right, let's do it from here. And needle to C bottom. Fan through back. And from here, needle to C bottom. Fan through back. And one more time, I may look over my shoulder at you. Needle to C bottom. Fan. I'm sorry, that's a needle to C bottom. Fan through back. All right, so when we're doing, one more time from this direction, when does that, or just look at me for a moment, and then that will be good. Thank you for actually doing it in that direction, but my intention right now is to show you something. So here we are. Now, in slow motion, I'm coming up, my weight is coming back here. Here is about when it happens. And my weight's finishing coming back, and then here is when this happens. So you want to be about, I mean, do what, don't get too precise, but if you want to know what you're aiming for, because if you can get it there at all when you're learning it, that's really great. But if you want to know where it is in this, in this, say, in this change, it's at this point that you connect, okay? Except, and it's when you're, when you've been bent, you're 45 degrees, right? You bent your 45 degrees again here, here. When you've bent here, nice, you bent here, then it's when you're, you know, probably more, you're probably back to here, because this is kind of your normal, you know, your normal amount of lean, right? So you're sort of back to the normal amount of lean at that point. And then when you do this, your lean is really, your hip is doing very different things and very, very open. And you are actually more than corner. If you look at where your sort of your chest center is pointing, this is my corner. This is, you know, I don't know how to say it. That is, so it's more than to the corner.
Dee?
Yeah.
Yeah, the final pose there.
Yes.
So the weight distribution after the strike in the final is it more to the front, or are you evenly on your feet at that
Whenever
point?
you're in a bow step, whether it's this one, right, where you're aligned this way to deliver energy in this direction, or when you're this way, and the reason you're doing it this way is because you've got two things going on, right? You've got two things. You've got force coming this way and force going this way. When you do single whip, there is the idea that you could be doing something here and doing something here. Not that you'd probably do them at the same time, but it's an opportunity to get that sense of the two directions. And this is the body position for that. So all bow steps, though, are pretty much 60 on the bent leg and 40 on the straight leg. I find that I feel a little heavier in the front this way than this way, because look at how my body turns.
I do too.
But you know what? There's no, yes, well, good. You've got a good body sense, but you don't want it to be 60 in the back or something like that. It is just, if it feels more like, you know, 55 or something, you know, or no, 40, yeah, instead of 40, 60, it's something different, then yes, it might. So, all right, we have just enough time. Any more questions?
Just one real quick one. Can you
Yeah.
talk about the close and step part of this? I mean, when you're actually stepping out and
Maybe. So what's your specific question? Let's see. I need to get there. Let me see.
we're down.
So we're here. I need to get down, right. And then here. And so my weight is almost back here. I'm lifting up and turning. At the moment, my weight completely empties this leg, and I'm completely balanced as I am coming to this point. So it's like everything, not everything, but many of our moves are, right as you finish and step. And what the and step means is that it's the moment of rooting. It's the moment when you have 2 points of contact with the floor. So I just can't get right into that. So here, and you're still, so your weight is back. You put a little bit on that root at this moment, and then you're all ready to go.
And you heel toe it to completion, yeah.
Yeah. So that's like in a brush knee.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You're ready to go. Right? Right. So if you had to speed it up, it's giving you what you need in order to execute the technique. So if you have a minute, let's just do everything in the second section that we know from here. If people have to leave, go right ahead. Embrace tiger, return to mountain. Roll back. Press. Push. Fist. Under elbow. Repulse monkey 1. 2. 3. 4. Diagonal flying. Raise hands and step forward. White crane spreads its wings. Left brush knee and push. Needle to see bottom. Fan through back. And if any of you do look at that tape, I want to tell you that I did not separate empty and full completely on the last move we did on that particular run through. And because of that, if you look carefully, you'll see it. You'll see that I had to sort of rush that step forward because I didn't have my weight quite fully back. So you may run into that and have that sense. So we should stop. We've been at this a while. Thanks for all the questions and the good work.